Okay, let's jump right into this. In today's explainer, we're going to completely flip the script on how you think about movement. We're taking it from being just another chore, that thing you guiltily try to squeeze into an already packed day, and revealing it for what it truly is an absolute, non negotiable biological necessity. We're taking a deep dive into the fascinating and honestly kind of alarming science behind what happens to us when we stop moving, and the literal magic that fires up in our biochemistry when we do.
So think about how many hours you've spent sitting today. Actually, there's a good chance you're sitting down right now. Well, we're going to explore the immediate, entirely hidden cascade of events triggered in your body the exact millisecond your leg muscles go slack. You might think you're just kicking back and resting, but on a cellular level, a highly complex chain reaction is kicking off. You've probably heard this famous phrase from Dr. James Levine, sitting is the new smoking. And it's not just some catchy headline designed for clicks. It's backed up by a literal mountain of physiological evidence. Our modern chair-based lifestyle is brilliantly engineered for our comfort, absolutely, but the research shows that comfort is just as hazardous to our long-term health as smoking a pack of cigarettes. Now, here's where we really need to distinguish between simply being physically inactive and true sedentarism. Sedentarism means your body is operating at 1.5 METs or less. Basically, that's just the baseline energy your body uses to keep your heart beating and your lungs breathing while doing absolutely nothing else. And here's the mind-blowing part. You can still suffer all the toxic physiological effects of sitting all day, even if you go absolutely crush a 45-minute workout at the gym later that night. You can be a physically active person, but still be highly sedentary. Our heavily tech-focused society has basically engineered movement completely out of the equation. I mean, we went from ancestors who spent their entire days actively foraging and hunting to a population practically glued to desks, screens, and steering wheels. And this huge behavioral shift, it's actively paving the runway for a massive global epidemic of chronic diseases.
Section 1. The physiology of sitting, or what happens when the engine stops. Let's look under the hood and see how this all builds into a pretty terrifying reality the longer you stay in that chair.
Literally, the second you sit down, the electrical activity in your leg muscles just completely shuts off. And within a few hours, your lipoprotein lipase enzymes, these are the little guys directly responsible for vacuuming up and breaking down fats in your bloodstream, they plummet by a staggering 90%. Without that enzyme doing its job, your body's ability to clear out blood fats just stalls, and your healthy HDL cholesterol drops. You literally stop burning fat at the cellular level. And we actually have historical proof of this slow-motion damage. This isn't just a new smartphone era problem. We can trace it back to the famous 1953 London bus study. Researchers looked at two sets of workers on the exact same double-decker buses. The drivers, who sat all day, and the conductors, who were constantly on their feet, climbing the stairs to punch tickets. The results were wild. The drivers who sat had significantly higher rates of coronary heart disease than the active conductors. It turns out sitting acts a lot like a slow poison. When your muscles aren't demanding oxygen, your heart's cardiac output drops, and blood just pulls in your legs. But the most dangerous part, your muscles become insulin resistant. That means they stop absorbing blood sugar efficiently, which leaves all that glucose just trapped in your bloodstream, causing system-wide damage. Moving on to Section 2, muscles, the endocrine engine. They are way more than just a mechanical motor. It's time for a major paradigm shift. We need to stop thinking of muscles as just simple mechanical levers for lifting heavy things. Your muscular system is actually a massive endocrine organ. This is the absolute secret weapon of movement. Every single time a muscle contracts, it releases hundreds of these incredible messenger molecules called myokines directly into your bloodstream. They travel everywhere, healing, protecting, and regulating your vital organs. It's basically a highly advanced internal pharmacy, and you control it entirely by moving. To really appreciate this, let's zoom way in on a muscle contraction. An electrical spark triggers a rush of calcium. This unlocks microscopic proteins inside the muscle, allowing them to slide past each other to generate force. I know, it sounds super technical, like straight out of a biology textbook, but that tiny sliding mechanical action, that's the exact spark that creates those magical myokines and pumps them into your blood. Which brings us to Section 3, a full-body upgrade, the systemic magic of exerkinins and myokines. Pumping your body full of these molecules isn't just about burning off last night's dessert, it's a literal upgrade to your biology. Think about how incredibly interconnected this whole system is. When your muscles contract, they release a protein called BDNF. Think of BDNF as high-grade fertilizer for your brain. It builds a muscle-brain axis that boosts your memory and protects against cognitive decline. At the exact same time, interleukin-6 is released as a powerful anti-inflammatory, and irisin goes straight to work, burning fat and regulating your insulin. It's a total biological software update. And remarkably, the benefits of these myokines extend to fighting some of the scariest diseases out there. Even a single session of exercise mobilizes your immune cells to recognize and destroy potentially malignant tumor cells. The molecules released during physical activity literally inhibit the spread of cancer cells. Let that sink in. Movement acts as a biological tumor suppressor. Section 4. The biological imperative. Counteracting the clock and the chair. Let's bring all the science right back to your daily life and how we can use this to fight back against aging and our chair-bound world. Look, if we choose to just sit back and remain sedentary, the biological clock is pretty ruthless. Starting as early as age 25, our bodies begin to aggressively strip away muscle mass. By 30, our VO2 max, which is just our body's maximum ability to utilize oxygen, starts dropping by about 10% every decade. It's basically a guarantee of age-related decline unless we actively intervene with resistance and endurance training to signal to our bodies that we still need that muscle. And if the natural aging process wasn't enough of an uphill battle, keep this brutal statistic in mind. For every single additional hour you spend sitting past 7 hours a day, your all-cause mortality risk increases by 5%. 5%. Just think about a typical day, your commute, sitting at your desk, then unwinding on the couch watching TV. Those hours stack up so fast. But hey, the good news is you're far from powerless here. Structured exercise, like going for a 60-minute run, is fantastic. But simple, everyday, non-exercise activity is an incredibly powerful tool to counteract the metabolic damage of sitting. Doing the dishes, gardening, simply taking your meetings while walking around the block, these low-intensity, intermittent actions keep that fat-burning enzyme active and keep the myokines flowing. So, knowing all this, what if the ultimate cure to our modern health crisis isn't going to be found in a pill bottle, but is actually locked inside your own muscle fibers right this second, just waiting for you to stand up? Movement is quite literally as essential to your survival as breathing. So what is the very first thing you're going to do today to fire up that endocrine engine?